How long you think it was gonna take before we got here? Now you gotta prove yourself all over again. Come on.
Ain't nobody coming, I've been gunning from 100 yards, trying to hit my mark, missing every time. This will be the start of the picture perfect. Watch you.
Well, Charles, we put the kibosh on the track yesterday at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. We can handicap. It's been a while since we've canceled the card with bad weather, but we managed to do it yesterday.
I told you storms were coming in.
Well, you don't live in Shelbyville, Indiana.
It's not that far.
Well, how far is it?
Well, it's about a 2-hour drive.
Okay, it's not that far. But, 2 hours from here, it could be hot and sunny.
True that. But the storms were coming in pretty bad.
So you must have come in through. Like, it did look pretty ugly there. It looked like it was hailing at first when they had that weather delay.
Yeah.
No such problems today in Belmont, New York, because it's sunny, mid-80s. Should be a beautiful day for horse racing. The turf is firm. The dirt is fast, Mr. Charles. But before we go on to talk about our picks today at Horseshoe, Indianapolis, I want to talk a little bit about the show last night. It was a really fun show. We got an opportunity to talk with Ramiro Restrepo, who is the part owner of Mage, the Kentucky Derby winner. Thought it was a pretty frank conversation and actually one that was very enjoyable.
Yeah, it was. He was really open to every question, and he gave all the answers.
Yes, he did indeed. He talked a little bit about the Derby, Preakness, the time in between, and he's not opposed to changing the scheduling, but he is opposed to changing the distances. I asked him a little bit about the Preakness because I thought when I watched the race, it looked like Mage was about to make its move and then kind of veered in a little bit in the stretch. And then jockey Castellano had to kind of straighten him out a bit and lost his momentum on that straightening out. But he kind of went through that and talked about how, and this is a big thing for me when I'm watching races, Charles, I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one. He's paying attention to the fractions. He said when they ran 6th and 113, he knew his goose was cooked. So a little bit too slow fractions for the what they were hoping for.
Yeah, and I knew that too once I saw those numbers. Yeah, you got to have a lot of things go your way no matter what. If you're a front runner or come from behind her or mid pack.
Well, you certainly have to have things go your way too when you're betting today at Belmont, which is what you and I are going to do today. We have a $100 budget. Going to put it to work at the different races. I'm going to be up front before we get started today, Charles. I did something completely different. It's kind of been gnawing at me. What's that?
You threw darts at the numbers.
No, I'll leave the insanity up to you, Mr. Charles. But What I did is at the end of every day, I go back and look at all of our data and see how the horses ran. And I've been noticing over and over high C-zone horses with big overlays from our simulations or very strong EP, LP scores or have a nice race shape. So I didn't look at the PPs at all, Charles. Not one lick at the PPs.
I didn't know there was a difference.
Well, you should know because I whoop your ass just about every day. But anyway.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Well, that's true. Silence is consent. But in any case, I just went straight. All of our data, it's completely data driven off the C-zones, the simulation odds, who's going to get the lead, the track biases, the EPLP, the race shape, all of it. Did not look at any of the P because I'm trying to find ways. So again, we see these things over and over and over again to start to suck in some more of those long price horses that can hit. So that was my goal today. It's been something I've been itching to try. So just a forewarning, that's what I did today. In race number 1, they're going to run 7 furlongs. It is a maiden claiming $30,000 race for a purse of 38 grand, Charles, at the distance for Belmont. 7 furlong types. Typically, early speed does win. So I focused on a little bit of early speed. 15% go wire to wire. That's about normal. There's a little bit of a rail discount, so tossed out the rail horse. 2 through 7 play fair. 8 and out actually play best. But with the scratches, we don't have that problem here today, Charles. Got a couple scratches in race number 1. The 1 horse is out, the 2 horses out, and the 5 horses out. And then we did our simulations. Right now, it does look like Perpetual Praise is the one that's going to get the lead, Charles.
Yeah, at 76% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole, and probably most likely would be doing so. The simulation odds, there's not much left after all the scratches. You got the 8 a little bit at even money, and the morning line is 4-1 overlay.
And we also look at the race shape. I hope I got this on. I don't have it on the race because I
We
was
better
kind
get going here. They're walking to the gate.
There we go. All right, so here we go. Well, they're usually pretty slow. So you see a lot of horses haven't been close. The 3 and the 4 are closers. Early speed belongs to the, looking at the early speed, we're looking at the 7 horse as we thought. The one had the most early pace, 5-point advantage over everybody else. Late pace goes to the 8 horse. The 8 and the 4 have more than anybody else by a wide margin. Top EP, LP scored 8 scores the highest. Charles, take us through your picks for race number 1 real quick.
I think I just have to do it because you copied mine. The 4 horse is my top choice. Ran second last 3 times. Tactical Speed drops in class today, so he should be sitting in the perfect spot for this race. The 8 is my second choice. Drops in class. Second start after a layoff. Tactical Speed. Kendrick is up. And then the 7 horse is my third choice. Third and last time out. Drops in class. Well bet last time. And then the 6 horse ran third last time. Cuts back in distance. He's been off for 56 days, but he's got some solid works in there. So, and then I'm doing a $5 exacta box for 8.
All right. For me in this first race, again, I mentioned that all of my picks are going to be totally based upon the data today. So Ukrainian Princess, the 4 horse, is a solid overlay, 6-1 morning line, 3-1 in the simulated odds. Now the second best C-zone score in here. The 8 horse, Power and Glory, is the simulated favorite in here. Charles does have the top early speed, late speed combination from our pace sheet over here. So that one scored out the highest, as we mentioned. And then on top of that, should be riding second place in terms of the co-pilot. 7, Perpetual Praise, the sim and the pace sheet. And finally, the 6 horse has a much better C-zone scored in the 3, so that's why it gets that 4th spot. Exact key box for me 4 over to 6, 7, 8. Charles, to get us through race number 1 at Belmont, and it looks like they're loading already. So for once, we have some incredible timing, Charles.
Yes, the jockey got off the 3 and so they could walk the 3 in. So they already knew what type of horse this is. He has issues walking in the gate apparently with a rider on his back.
Doesn't like that. There's a little bit of claustrophobia. I would say that 4 horse, to be honest, it's a little warm over there, but does look a little sweaty in the neck area to me. Charles, maybe he's a little bit hyped. Charles,
I don't think he was that bad. I mean, I think they're all going to get a little sweat. Yeah, you look at the 6 also. He's got a little wetness on the neck. And I think it's just the heat out there.
A little warm out there, perhaps, indeed. He's nice and shiny, though, that 6 horse, I got to say. Good sheen to him, Charles. And I think that's one of the things you're looking for is a nice, shiny coat, right?
Shiny coat, dappled out.
Well, the 7 horse is not sweating at all. So he looks like he's the calmest until they try to put him in the gate.
Until they try to put him in the gate.
Yeah, then they said, you know what, I might look good, but I'm not going to behave. And then the 8 horse, it's another one that looks a little bit on the sweaty side up front. Of the horses that went in, the 7 did look the driest of the bunch. And I know in boxing, you want to have a little bit of wetness on you. Oh, someone dipped down there. It looked like the 8 horse might have put its nose to the turf coming out. The 7 horse has indeed, as the simulator projected, has taken the lead right now at 8-5 as your favorite in there. So that's a pretty good positive if you have the 7 horse as your top pick. As they come through the backstretch, the 7 has the lead, followed by the 6 horse, Spatial Reality, and then Strange Fruit, the 3 horse, is in third on the rail. The favorite there, that 4 horse, is running at the back of the pack, but it does look like the jockey has a pretty good hold on him.
Yeah, and they're pretty tightly bunched.
Yeah, going through the opening quarter, 23 and 16, maybe a tad on the quick side for a 7 furlonger. But maybe not for an allowance, 30,000 maiden claiming. Yeah, for 30,000 maiden claiming, I think that might be a little on the quick side. 7 horse still has the lead as they're coming their way through the turn. Doesn't really look like anybody's making up a lot of ground right now, Charles. He's comfortably on the front. Looks like he might actually stay comfortably on the front, too, to be honest with you. The question is who's going to have any late legs. That favorite's trying to move way wide, see if he can rally in for second place. But I don't know. The 4 horse looks pretty spent to me. So the 7 horse, the one that we projected to get to the lead, actually got to the lead, is going to stay on the lead. The 3 horse, that one, the one that neither one of us have anywhere, is going to be second place. And then closing it out with the 8 horse, Power of Glory. So it's going to go speed, and then speed. 7, 3, 8. Keep an eye on that as the first race developed there, Charles. Look like the horses that got to the front, they were able to maintain to the front. And maybe speed's going to hold all day there, Charles.
Yeah, they did a 1:13 and change on 6 furlong mark. So
Yeah, they're not too slow for that. I think it's pretty
that's
quick
not
for
too
that
bad.
for maiden claiming 30. No,
Yeah.
all
Fine.
right. Let's go on to race number 2, Mr. Charles. Now that we know speed's going to be the way, race number 2. Well, that's not probably going to matter at 1 3/8 on the inner turf. Allowance 95,000. Non-winners of 1. The purse is 95 grand. They haven't run that many at 1 3/8 on the turf. In fact, just one so far. Was won by early speed from post 2 or 3, but the horse did not go wire to wire, Charles. In the second race, if speed does matter, our simulator says Union Dolly could do like the 7 horse and go wire to wire.
Yeah, at 63% chance of having the lead at the quarter pole. And, you know, probably most likely that's how I see it too. But the one might have a say in this at around 20% to have that lead at that quarter pole. So when it comes to simulation odds, we have that one horse slightly under 4-1, and we got a morning line of 6-1 on that. And then we have that's it. Got 2 scratches in there. So.
And our turf guru JT Bruce says, good interview with last night. We appreciate that. It was a good interview. I had a lot of fun with that. He's got a couple of picks for us today. Belmont on the turf, race 8, number 6 horse, Haven Street, and then a pick 4 at the end here. He's got the 1-5 in race 6. In race number 7, the 1-3, race 8, the 4-6, and then race 9, the 1 and the 8. So 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. That is the Noah pick 4 right there, Charles. Our way to the winner's circle worksheet for the second race. We see here that most everybody wants to be in the back. There are no true front runners in here, no pilot or co-pilot types that have some versatility. So the 2 horse there, Ever Summer, might be the one that wants to find its way to the front. And if you look at the early speed numbers there, indeed, a little bit of an advantage over everybody else. Looks like anybody but Lullaby Land, the 3 horse, might challenge for the early speed. In short fields, I typically like early speed. The 1 horse, Antelonian, has the most late speed with Union Dolly. Pretty good advantage over everybody else. And that duo, as you see, also has the best early speed combination with the late pace. 1-4-6. Wouldn't be surprised to see that trio produce the winner. Charles, what do you say?
Well, I have the 4 myself. I think the speed on this one is going to just have the pace at his own, whatever he wants to do with this. The second, he ran second last time, excuse me. Third start after a layoff, favorite angle. So I think this horse is ready to rock and roll here. And the 1 horse is my second choice. This one has that tactical speed, but more on the closing side of it, which with this long distance, that benefit him a lot. Second start after a layoff. You got a hot jockey and trainer combo there the last 14 days with that jockey being Irad. The 2 horses, my third choice here. This horse has got some tactical speed. I think this one will be sitting like second or third. You got to toss that last one out. The horse clipped Hills last time, so you lose everything on that. Clement gets 19% with 90-plus days of rest. Rosario, his go-to guy, is riding, so makes that very dangerous. And then the other Clement horse is the 6. The 6 ran second the last 4 times. Has some speed to stay real close. Might even get the lead. Once again, it got a 90-plus days off with Clement. But it was well bet last time, so it makes it very interesting about this horse.
All right, again, for me, here we got Pedro Martinez. Buenas tardes indeed, senor. He wants to know what your best bet today is, Charles. Again, today I went strictly off of the C zones, the simulations, and all the data, so I don't really have a best bet.
Mine.
If I had to say, it would be probably one of these races back in here where the 8 horses, my top pick. And that would be race number 5, I think, would be the one I think has the best chance to win. What about you?
Mine is race 9, the 8.
Race 9. So race 5, the 8, race 9, the 8. JT says, and Indy race number 4, Nerves of Steel. Keep an eye on that. That's the 6 horse on the turf as well. Delaware race number 6, the 7, Amunet. And then a box 4, 7, 9, 10. Hawthorne race 4, the number 4, Landmark Deal. I like in the second race at Belmont today, the 6 horse, Ramey. Very solid C-zone score right there, along with the top early pace, late pace combination. Number 4, Union Dolly does have the top EP-LP combo in the field. High probability that this one's going to be on the lead, Charles, and that's according to both the pace and the simulation data. And Telonian, the 1 horse, has the best combination of sim scores in here, an overlay, early speed, and C-zone. And then finally, the 2 horse, Ever Summer, did grade out as the top C-zone horse. And if we look back over here, it was the lone P horse. I like when you see a horse in that lone position, and that's the lone P horse in a field of mostly closers and mid-pack types. So I think you have a good shot for that horse to come in, get a nice setup, and that's why the C-zone score so high. I'm going to do a trifecta 1-4-6 over the 1-2-4-6 over the 1-4-6. That's going to be the combination that I play all day today, hoping that I can get some nice prices on the front 2 and then something to come home out of my top 3 picks third, because they can't all finish in the top 3.
Yeah, and I'm doing a pick 4 there with my top 4 picks, going with my top 2 picks in the second leg, top 3 in the third, and then back down to my top 2 picks in that fourth and final leg.
So early pick 5, what track are you doing here, Joseph? 4-7, 4-6, or you had the 7 in the first leg? Okay, congratulations. I hope you continue through. Then 3-4-5 in race number 3, 1-2-3, and then 4-8. We appreciate the love the show comment. If you like the show too, like Joseph, kindly hit the like button on Facebook and on YouTube. We don't get to see who gets the likes on YouTube. We just get to see the number. It just helps us with their algorithm. So when people search for horse racing shows, the more thumbs up we get, the higher the rankings we're likely to go. So a small way you can help the show, and one that we greatly appreciate. Next up is race number 3. Mr. Charles, you ready to move on?
Ready.
This one's 1 mile and a 16th on the dirt. Allowance 50 grand. The purse is 65 grand. The profile of a 1 mile and a 16th dirt winner on that Belmont, New York track in the 11 races so far. Early speed has been the way, a fair number, 18% leading from gate to wire. There has been a rail penalty so far. 2 through 7 have been mostly fair, although the farther you get away from the 2, the better. So a little bit of an outside to inside bias. So far, nobody wearing the fuchsia 8s or higher has found their way into the winner's circle. Charles, in the third race today, again, we got a scratch here. The 2 horse, La Aguilia, not going to run. Was one that was going to be early on the gas. With him not out, she caught my eye. Should benefit along with Chase Burn.
Yeah, she caught my eye, and now because after that scratch, I now switched my back because originally I had the 4 as my second.
Yeah. You saw that I had the 4 ranked first, don't?
And yeah, that's why you've been copying me the first 2 races. But anyway,
Pantalegos in Fuego. That's you, Charles.
Yeah, I had all my picks before you. But anyway. The 4 horse does have an excellent chance of getting that lead at the quarter pole with 37% chance there. The 5 might have a say in it a little bit, but I really do think it's more of the 4 that's going to do that. I think the 5 is a little bit better at closing. And then when the simulation odds there, we got the 4 once again, slightly over 2-1. We got 4-1 morning line. That's not bad. And the 5, just slightly under 2-1. We got 5-1 morning line. Not too bad there also. And then the 7, you got just under 12-1, and you got a 30-1 morning line. Could be a very nice overlay.
Could be one that you want to have in the back of your exact as a trifecta. I cannot tell you how many times you see them shots like that. Just kind of wiggle their way into third at the end or fourth for the superfecta. As you look at the race shape for this race, we see that most of the horses want to be middle of the back. The 4 horse in here, she caught my eye, is the lone EP type, along with the 6 being the lone P type. That means the 4 does have some flexibility as a pilot, co-pilot. So if anybody else wants to go out to the lead, not going to be uncomfortable sitting in the co-pilot seat. It does look like Chase and Burn, the closer back here. So this is one that typically, when it runs its best, wants to come from off the pace. This is what I call a left arrow horse. So that horse moving a little bit closer to the front off of its normal early speed could find itself the very comfortable trip, Charles. Galliano has the top late pace, boy, about 5-point advantage over everybody else. But in this short field, could find itself a little bit too far off the pace to use that to its advantage. The late speed, early speed combination, Jason Byrne with a nice 8-point advantage over everybody else. Once you close in on 10, again, may not necessarily be the winner, but one that usually absolutely factors in the exacta and or trifecta. Charles, we both went with She Caught My Eye because, again, you are copying my picks today.
Yeah. She caught my eye. This horse, she has speed, as we've already been talking about. This is third start after a layoff. Rice, the suspended but never suspended trainer, gets 19% with that angle. And this horse ran third last time out. So the horse is right there ready to rock and roll. The 3 horse is my second choice here. This horse ran second the last 3 times. It's got some tactical speed. Dutrow is looking for his second win this year. He could possibly get it here. I mean, he has at least a chance, but I still think that 4 is going to be tough to beat. And then the 5, I think they better not try to go to the lead. I think they'll see a different outcome here. The 5 won last time out, third start after a layoff. I think this horse is way better at closing. And then the 6, first you got to toss out that last race, and the trainer gets 26% first after the claim. Plus, he also gets 22% going from turf to dirt. Some great angles there with this horse. As long as you toss out that last race, and you got Franco aboard.
Toss him out. Well, if Manny's on board, the horse better be forwardly placed because Manny is really good up near the lead. Again, just straight data from me, folks. Didn't look at the PPs at all. Just letting you guys know the caveat for the day. It's been something that I've wanted to do and try. So today is that day. I went with the 4 horse. She Caught My Eye. Very likely to be the pace setter. Strongest C-zone score by a long shot, as you can see. Double everybody else. And the lone EP horse in a field where most people want to be forward back. So should get an excellent, excellent trip in here. Jason Byrne has a +7 or 8 early pace, late pace advantage over the rest of the field. Going to be forwardly placed as a left arrow horse, and it is the top overlay in the race, according to the sim. Gagliano, tough call over to 6 for me, but the 6 horse was a tough call over to 6 for me. So it essentially has the same early pace, late pace combination in C-zone. So I'm going to go with the lower sim odds and the higher morning line odds. And then another tough call from me over to 6 was the 3 horse in there, Charles. Sa for da. This one does also have better simulation odds and a stronger early pace, late pace combination. Again, I'm going to go with that 3 by this time I went 3 by 3 by 5 combination of horses for my trifecta. The 1, 4, 5 with the 1, 4, 5 with the 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in third place. So I feel like the 1, 4, and 5, according to all the data, are the 3 best horses in this field. You know, I also played a contest over there at Horse Tourneys today. Didn't look at the PPs, just went all my top picks, Charles, to see how it plays out.
Yeah, you have to do it that way. But hopefully you got a couple of prices in there.
Yeah, I mean, you could see most of the price, most of the horses in here today. I haven't really been on it. And that's the one thing I've been noticing. Again, I go back and I encourage everybody to do this when you bet. Go back kind of at the end of the day and kind of observe what you did, what worked, what didn't work, make some notes. And it's because of that rewind that I go through every day that it just kept gnawing on me to try this, where all I did was go with the data using the C-zone, the simulations, and the pace, along with the track bias, and then try to fit the horses into a puzzle like that, Charles, and see if I can indeed find some longer prices and bigger payouts. In race number 4, 7 furlongs on the turf. This one's a maiden special weight for 75 grand. So you're going to get some quality horses in here, Charles. No question about that.
Yep.
Maybe some of these winners could be, the winner here could be a stakes type. 7 furlongs on the grass. So far, Charles, they've done 11 races. Stalkers have done really well. 0 horses have managed to go wire to wire. So maybe kind of avoid if anybody really wants to get to the front. There is an inside 3 and 8 and out bonus. For whatever reason, horses 4 through 7 have been squeezed out of the winner's circle at a lower rate than the inside and outside. So our barbell approach. Speed, the 1 horse, Lieutenant Mitchell, and the 1, 8, 1 for my brother. Those 2 might want to temper down the early pace of it.
Yeah, the 1, has the 31% chance. And then you got the 8 at 28% chance. Having that lead at the quarter pole, I do think the 1 will take it at the quarter pole. And matter of fact, probably most likely go wire to wire.
Ooh, it's going to break that 0 for 11, huh?
No, I'm going for it.
You're going
Simulation
I think it's going to happen eventually, I suppose.
Hey, man, no, I've been right more than not. And then the 3, you have 3-1 odds, or just under 3-1 odds, and you got 4-1 odds on the morning line. The 4 itself, slightly under 2-1 odds, with 3-1, 3.5-1 odds on the morning line. And then that's about it when it comes to simulation odds. So we got a couple of horses with overlays there.
And unaffected down here all by itself with the largest C-zone score. So get Lieutenant Mitchell, Prince of Troy, and Heroin and Donley. Those 3 of that quartet should have a pretty good trip. Maybe not necessarily comfortable, because those aren't the highest C-zone scores. Sans the 9. Here you see the 1, the 8, and the 9 scoring out as never close. They haven't been within 5 lengths of the leader once the race is over, so they'll all have to improve off of that. Otherwise, the 2, 3, 7 want to close. That means the 6 and the 4, they could be forwardly placed. They get reasonable fractions. They could be tough to run down, Charles. The 1 horse does have the most early speed, the 8. So you got these horses that 1 and 8, that tells me they like to get to the front and then fade at the end. The 6 horse, the E type, he'll be up front, but boy, that late pace number looks pretty poor. If you're looking for late speed, Screw Loose, that's something Charles has.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the one that'll be coming the hardest out of the closers, and won't be too far off the pace either, because it is a tightly bunched group up front. Early speed, late speed combination, the most complete race, 7, Screw Loose. So Charles and Lieutenant Mitchell, along with Dream Point, that trio should be the ones that have a good shot, along with the 2 captain party. I think those 4, one of those 4 could produce the winner. Charles, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think the one, I think it will go wire to wire. This horse has the speed to do it, has even the closing right amount of numbers to do it. Rail gets 19%. You got a hot jockey trainer combo, 14 in the last 14 days. And once again, Rice, second start after a layoff, gets 19%. So makes that horse very, very dangerous in this group. But the 7, like we just finished saying, ran even last time. And now, in my opinion, there's a jockey upgrade on this horse. So, and this horse is bred for this. So, with that being said, this horse might move up a lot, especially the way those numbers look. I think that would be an excellent exacta, which that's what I did, 1-7. And then the 2 is my second choice here. This horse ran 3rd the last 2 times. Second start after a layoff. Weaver gets 16% with that angle. Cuts back in distance today. And then my final choice is the 3. This horse ran 3rd last time out. Second start after a layoff again, but this one will be closing at the end. So we'll see what we got there at the end for clean up some of the exotics.
I'm going to start with the 4. Prince of Troy is the number 1 overlay, according to the simulator. Also has a good combination of early speed and C-zone score for this group in here. And again, in our Way to the Winner Circle worksheet is the lone P horse in a group of horses that want to be back or show some speed and have faded in the past. So should get a really nice trip in here. Lieutenant Mitchell, yeah, there you go. That's the one with the top early speed, late speed combination. Going to be the pace setter in here, Charles. I think either that or one from my brother. Those 2, if they aren't careful, they duke it out. They both could fade. But of the 2 speed horses, Lieutenant Mitchell, much likelier to get a comfortable trip. Dream Point, the 3 horse, is the second best overlay in here, and the second best combination of early speed and late speed. If we go back to here, again, I'm looking at all of this data, no PPs today. And then finally, Charles should be the one that comes home 4th, Screw Loose, tie for the top early speed, late speed combination, but does have the most late pace in this race. And you're going to get fair odds for this one. It was a tough call for me over to the 2 horse or the 9, which did have the strongest C-zone score. So I wouldn't want to trifecta 1-3-4 over the 1-3-4-7-9 over the 1-3-4. Again, hoping to get some really nice prices in the top 2. And then one of my top 3 picks to come home 3rd for a big trifecta today. That's what I did in every single race. It's kind of my go-to bet. Charles, what's your go-to bet?
I really do like win bets.
That's your favorite?
That is my favorite, yes.
Yeah, mine are trifectas and then like the pick 4s. That's right. I do like win bet if I feel like I have a horse that's really going to win at a decent price. And then usually, though, I'll take that horse and I'll back it up in like a wheel of an exacta or a trifecta too.
And when it comes to exotics, I'm with you on that. I like trifectas and pick 4s.
Yeah, to me, yeah, anything past, I mean, it's hard to win 4 races in a row as it is, right? Let
Yeah.
alone 5 or 6 to get to that pick 6, though. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe putting together like a pick 6 consortium. Everybody puts a bunch of money in, and maybe we do a few, like with $100 budget
Hmm.
per, and only do the ones where there's a lot of money at stake, some big carryovers. All right, into the 5th race we go, 1 mile on the dirt. It's a 1-turn mile, so you have to treat them more like a sprint than a 2-turn mile. So at Belmont, one of the tracks where it is a 1-turn mile, it's a claiming 25,000 non-winners of 2 lifetime. The purse, 37 grand for 3-year-olds and up that haven't won more than 2 races, Charles. A mile on the dirt track for that sprint route. Early speed does show 26% of the time, a really high number, going wire to wire. There is a rail edge, so sort of Pereso could do all right there. 2 through 7 play mostly fair. There's a little bit of an outside to inside bias in those middle horses. So far, the 8 and out haven't won a single race, Charles, in race number 5. The early speed here belongs to the outside horse, our son Jake. That's the one I think has a good shot to win today.
Yeah, and I mean, well, with 38% chance of taking the lead at the quarter pole, I believe so, and I think that's how it's going to happen. Another one that might go wire to wire here. The only one he will have to worry about is probably the 2, but I think the 2 is a little bit better with his tactical speed instead of taking the lead. But he does have about 27% chance of getting it. But he will definitely be sitting second, I believe, all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to simulation odds itself, what are we looking at? Just the 8 is it. Just slightly under 2-1. We got a 4-1 morning line. With that scratch, I don't know if we're going to get 4-1 morning line, but might be close to the simulation odds.
Could be. Yeah, well, maybe 8-5. I think if we get 5-2, I would be thrilled with that one. Our way to the winner's circle worksheet for that race, you see the 4 and the 8. Those 2 really want to be up on the lead. That 2 horse does grade out here as the faster of the 2 early pace horses. Looking at that, you'll see that it is normally a closer. So that is a little bit of a left arrow horse, although tends to fade as the race progresses, needs to definitely find a little bit more late race endurance. That 8 horse, the other lone piece. So it's not lead dependent. That's the nice thing about our son, Jake. Although it does have some early speed, the P designation means it's probably more comfortable running second or third, maybe even fourth. Put together the early speed, late speed combination. If that 8 is anywhere near that leader going down the stretch, has an 8-point advantage over everybody else with that 5-point late pace advantage. Could be extremely difficult to hold that 8 horse off if it's close, making its move as the race is coming to a close. And we both think it'll get the job done.
Yeah, I think that it will get the job done. The race is setting up, or at least looks like it, that he has an excellent chance to get his race. He could take the lead or sit right second, somewhere around there, but I think he'll have the lead. You got to toss his last race out. It wasn't pretty, but he drops off after that. The trainer gets 22% off and when he drops him in the claiming and puts claiming races. So that's a good little angle. The 2 horse itself, like we said, it's got some speed. I think they should sit there second, like a little tactical like about it, but back on the dirt today, which is going to help him. And plus you get IRAD aboard, which will help also.
Should.
The 4, my third choice, another one that's got that tactical speed. I think this one will be sitting around third. Drops in class today, third start after a layoff. The trainer gets 22% with that angle, which makes him very dangerous. I think those top 3 are very dangerous horses in this race. The 6 is my final choice here, price horse. Back on dirt today. This one will be closing. Drops in class today, and I'm starting a pick 5. I'm going pick 5 here on this one. I'm taking my top 3 picks and going with my top 2 picks in the second leg. Third leg, I'm going with my top 3. Fourth leg, I think that's pretty much more wide open. I'm going my top 4, and then I'm doing my single in the last and final leg.
Ooh, all comes down to the final race and number 8 in that spot. I like the 8 horse here too. I think this one has a really good shot at winning this race. Has that +8 early pace, late pace advantage. Again, for the sake of being repetitive, anytime you close in on a 10-point advantage, horse that has to absolutely be considered. It has a 5-point late pace advantage. Won't be all that far off the lead, if not on the lead itself. So you can't pass what you can't catch. Big overlay, strong C zone. Moving in to post number 7 off the scratch, wipes out that post that hasn't won of yet. Bert, the 4-horse, taking the second spot for me. It's the other P horse in the race. That's the second best C zone scorer in a third best C zone scorer in the race. And then number 2, Going in Style. It's a very good combination of early speed and C zone, Charles. I think that one gets to the lead, should be very comfortable up in there. No question about that. And does have the top early speed in the pace sheets, as we saw. Also a left arrow horse. Those tend to do pretty well. A couple of our inventions here at horse racing today, the C zone and the left arrow types. And then number 1, Sopresso, was a tough call over the 5 for me, but I'll take the better sim, better C zone, better chance to be on the lead, rail edge, and the higher odds. Trifecta, 248 over the 1, 2458 over the 1, 4, and 8 again. Looks like they're about ready to run race 2, Charles. So let's rewind back to race number 2 and take a look at our picks. I have the 6-horse in here, Charles, as my top. It looks like the folks on the ground. The 6-horse is your second favorite at 5-2. The 4-horse, your favorite, Charles, is the betting favorite at 6-5. The 2-horse is the third choice in this short field at 3-1. And then the 1-horse being the 9-2 shot. And then you have the 3-horse at 14-1. So the bettor is basically kind of lukewarm on everybody, because in the 5-horse field, when you do those contests, like I mentioned, I did today over at horsetourneys.com, when we had on Scott Fiedler, the guy who you see constantly winning these tournaments, he said in a 5-horse field that they always take the longest priced odds. So you'll see a lot of people probably in the competition today on that 3-horse as the longest shot in a 5-horse field, Charles. Let's see if it plays out today.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the smartest thing to do, like you said, because everyone in the tournament is most likely has the favorite or co-favorite, at least those 2. Well, you might as well try to get the odds in your favor, because if you hit that long shot, you've eliminated them winning a race and you've won a nice long shot race. So,
Well, we'll see how they go. They're loading into the gates on the grass for race number 2. Right now, we think that the 4-horse Union Dolly is the one that's likely to get the lead. A pretty strong chance over the 1-horse Entelonian. So that's the way we see the race breaking out early, although Eversummer and Rehume have a shot to be up on the lead. We'll see if indeed who takes the initiative when the gate opens. I had mentioned in that last race, it looked like the 7-horse was the least sweaty of the bunch, and he went on to win. So the 1-horse looks really shiny. I don't see a whole lot of sweat on that one either, Charles.
No.
But he's not in the rail post there. 2-horse, he looks pretty dry too, Charles. His ears are kind of moving around a little bit, so I think maybe it's a bit distracted at the moment. He's not really focused.
He's just taking it all in. He's listening to all the noises around there, people yelling, screaming, all that stuff.
Now the 3-horse, he's doing the same thing. But his ears are a little bit more forward as he moves in. Another one that's not sweaty, but not quite as shiny as some of the other horses are. Yeah, the 4, he's eager, boy. He ran right into the gate, Charles.
Hey,
he
like
can't
his
wait
second
to
home
go.
was there. Like there was food in there waiting for him.
Now the 6-horse, his ears were perked forward the entire time. He looks pretty focused as too. But man, as far as the enthusiasm, that 4-horse wanted to get into the gates, baby, and he wants to get out of the gates.
And he went straight to the lead like he's supposed to.
Yes, he did indeed. And then you got a trio of horses kind of booked in behind him, the 2 and the 6. Although the 2 is running kind of rank, man. His head is all over the place, Charles. I told you when he was going into the gate, his ears were all over the place. He's completely distracted out there and unhappy about his situation at the moment. But unfortunately for me, he's making my 6 run too wide all the way across the racetrack here.
Yeah, he is.
And it doesn't look like the jockey has any interest in Trevor McCarthy of getting that horse down to the rail. But one good thing about Trevor is that Trevor will have horse at the end of the race. The 4-horse, as we projected, continues to lead as they go in through the opening turn. 25 seconds just about for the opening quarter for a race at 1 mile 3/8. Might be a little bit on the quick side, Charles. What do you think?
It might be, but I mean, I don't think it's too much. I was predicting probably in my head about 25, 26. So right there in the high 25s.
But our allowance $95,000, so just probably a cut underneath like non-graded stakes types, or maybe even the type that can, if they perform well in a race like this, find their way into the stakes races. The 3-horse is lagging behind. So right now you got the 4 continues to have the lead, Union Dolly. Ever Summer on second, the distracted one. The 6-horse now looks like Trevor's trying to make a little bit of move as they make their way to the final turn. Just a couple strides to go before they start turning left again for the second time. The 1-horse does look like he's trying to keep up in there. Nice little tempo. They are starting to close the gap a little bit on the 4. They went through the opening 3 quarters in 1:17, and I mean, they're just kind of walking there, Charles, no?
No, I think it's about right for this distance.
Where that 3-horse just exploded.
Wow, they just passing him like he's standing still.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where that came from, but he certainly made an effort there. It does look like who's falling off to the back there. It's tough to tell.
He's done.
The 4 is completely done, that front runner.
Yep.
Yeah, so here they come down the stretch. What happened to him? Did he take a bad step? Because they were
No, they just passed him like he was sitting still.
So it does look like the distracted horse, Charles, is going to be the one that goes on to win. Either that or the 3-horse there. So you got some bombs coming home here, Charles.
Yeah, got 2-1.
It's going to go 2, 1, and 3. 2, 1, and 3. So, Charles, you have
my pick 4.
You got the pick 4 with the 2-horse, Ever Summer, which indeed, Charles, ended up the top C-Zone score horse is your winner. But it was also the morning line favorite as well. Well, the 3rd favorite. There you go.
3rd favorite, yeah.
And he went off at 3-1.
So a good way to start. I'll take the 3rd favorite.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to the 4. Would he just stop at 117?
The jockey must have been yelling something because they all went past him like he was just stopped. So maybe he says I'm coming back or something like that. And, because, the jockeys do communicate out there with one another, sometimes they'll say coming through like they're coming between horses or on the rail,
Yeah, we had on Chantel, and she talked about the communication on there, and people had a heart attack like they didn't know that the jockeys were communicating with each other out there. My best bet at Belmont today from Mr. Terry Hay is number 3, Bustin' Bay in the 7th race. Mark that down because Terry's usually pretty spot on with his plays of the day.
I like that horse a lot.
All right, well, then we got 3 best bets. The 8, the 3, and the 8. 838. That's got to be an area code somewhere. Now we're going to go on to the 6th race on the 9-race card. This is the beginning of the late pick 4. If you are so inclined to play a pick 4, I did not today. In the 6th race, they're going to run a mile and an 1/8 on the inner turf. I think we just saw that race right there, Charles. No, a mile and an 1/8 on the inner turf. Mile and 3/8 on the
3/8 with last one here. So
this one's going to be a 1/4 mile shorter. 4 races so far, half of which were won by speed. In fact, 2 of them went wire to wire. The other 4 came from off the pace. So be up in the front, be in the back. Don't be in the middle. Don't be on the rail because none have won from the rail or 8 and out. 2 winners came from post 2 and 3. The other from post 4 through 7, Charles. So if this is going to be the 3rd time in 5 times they go wire to wire, sure looks like Silent Melody will be the one that tries to make that happen.
Yeah,
although the rail hasn't won yet.
I know, but boy, that's 75, almost 76% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole. This horse has got a lot of speed, and actually, I think this horse could have some tactical speed. If someone else takes the lead, I think he could sit right there too. So he's got that kind of speed. The 4 has a 19% chance, most likely to be pushing the 1 horse all the way around. When it comes to simulation odds for overlays, look at the 1. Just under 2 to 1. We got 8 to 1 morning line. Gotta like that one. And the 2, 3 to 1, 10 to 1. Excuse me, 10 to 1 morning line. Look at the 3, 6 to 1, 12 to 1 morning line. Look at these overlays. We got some overlays in this race. The 7, it's 9 to 1, 20 to 1 overline morning line. So you got some overlays in this race you could choose from, and it looks really good.
And Buy Stocks likes Bustin' Bay too. So Bustin' Bay looks like it might be the best bet of the day. Charles likes it. Terry likes it. And our good friend Buy Stocks likes it. I don't know if I like it. I forget what I did there. In race number 6, the way to the winner's circle worksheet, look at this 4-horse. La Conquistadora is a lone E. So if they can get to the lead, could get a little bit dangerous there, Charles. The 1 horse, though, who hasn't finished within 5 lengths of the leader yet in the recent races, that does have some early speed in there too, though, Charles. If you look at the early speed numbers, it's going to be the 1 and the 4 that duke it out because They have a pretty good advantage over everybody else, so they'll have to be cautious not to burn one another, especially at the distance today. Late speed belongs to Bomb Squad. That's the boxer. Deontay Wilder. A hat tip to Deontay Wilder, the Bomb Squad. Dream Ankara and Era Samea, those three all have the most late speed, and they're all horses that are in the closer column, except for the 5 being a P-type. So the 5 could get a nice trip if it can sit right off the leaders, use some of that late speed, be in front of the closers. I think that's what the connections will be looking for. Silent Melody, although it hasn't been within 5 lengths of the leader of late, scores 7 points than everybody else better on the early speed, late speed. Charles, I guess we both consider that one a good chance to go wire to wire.
Yeah, and here's my reasons why. Like we just said, it's got speed, and then on your other chart, the 4 has the speed to go to the front also. I think the 1 is kind of hoping for the 4 to go to the front, and I think this horse could sit right there and take over, because the 4 will back up. He's going to back up. So I have the 1 as my top choice here. And I believe, in my own opinion, this is. I think there's a jockey upgrade on this horse. You got a trainer that gets 18% second time out, and the jockey is Irad. So I think you're gonna have a very dangerous horse here. Hopefully, we get 8-1. That's what I'm hoping for. The 9 is my second choice here. This horse ran even last time out. They're adding the blinkers today. Clement gets 15% with that angle. Plus, Clement gets 21% when the horse has got 46 plus days of rest. You got Rosario, his main guy. He's got riding that horse. So I think that's a great exacta right there, because he'll be flying at the end. The 1 should be on the lead. So there's my exacta box. The 2 horse is my third choice. Another one that has a little speed, probably will be sitting close. Trainer gets 11% when he's got off for 46 plus days. You got the winning jockey Castellano aboard.
The Kentucky Derby winner, right?
Yeah. And the 5 horse is my final choice here. Ran third last time out. You got the trainer that gets 20% with 46 plus days rest. This one will definitely be closing at the end. So that's how I see it.
Castellano's good on the grass too, so keep an eye on him, especially in the grass races. Well, I see the 1 horse like you, Charles. Silent Melody does have that plus early pace, late pace advantage. It is the simulation favorite and very likely to be your pace setter. Hopefully it doesn't stall out like the 4 just did. The Splendid 1, the 2 horse, does get that top C-zone score, folks. Look out for that. An overlay, 10-1 down to 7-2. A stalking trip, very likely here in a field full of closers. So the horse that should get a nice trip is going to get a good one according to C-Zone. Arisemea, the 5 horse. It's the other stalker P-type in this race. It has a really nice late kick, as you mentioned, Charles, with the second best C-Zone score. So that's another one I think that it might just sit right off the pace a little bit, try to run comfortable fractions and see if it can do like that 2 horse just did, repeat that race. And then Dream Ankara, the 3 horse, is another simulation overlay at a nice price of probably somewhere between 6 and 7-1 there, Charles. Second best early speed, late pace combination over on the pace sheets, and also has the second best late pace numbers. 1, 2, 5 over to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 over to 1, 2, and 5 for me, for my trifecta in race number 6. In the 7th race today, we're going to go 1 16th miles on the dirt, Charles. 1 16th, 11 races. Early speed has been the way to the winner's circle. 18% of the time, the way has been gate to wire. A little bit of a rail penalty, so a Ribots Valentine might not be too happy about that. A little bit of an outside to inside bias, but mostly fair from 7 through 2. And so far, nobody from 8 and out has managed to find the winner's circle. Mr. Charles, if speed does indeed hold in race number 7, like we saw in race number 1, you'll find out that the speed's kind of scratched, so everybody else has a shot. It's going to be pretty hard fought. Who's going to get on the front?
You're in the wrong race there.
All right, race 7. There we go.
There you go.
Now it's not going to be so hard fought. Inside, outside.
Yeah, I was going to say, the 1 horse has got a 67% chance. Thank God he has some speed to get off that rail, maybe. I don't know. And then the 8 horse, the outside horse. So we got the bookends that have all the speed here. So the 8 has got a 32% chance, most likely to be pushing that 1. I think they'll be battling it out pretty good overall. But when it comes to simulation odds, we have the 3, 2-1 morning lines, 3-1. Probably that's going to probably be below that 2-1 mark now with that other 2 horses scratched. It's going to take some money there, and now we all gave it out as one of our best bets. And then simulation. That's it when it comes.
That's it. Yeah, but with everybody on Bustin' Bay, that horse is going to be like 1-5.
Yeah.
As we look at race.
Thanks, Terry, for bringing it down. I had money on it.
Bustin' Bay does have a nice positional advantage over the rest of the field as the lone P horse. Everybody else wants to kind of be middle or back, so it's not going to be lead dependent. Should get a pretty good trip according to the pace setup. It does look like that one horse is going to be your pace setter, Ribbit's Valentine. Cinderella's Cause, but everybody in there except maybe Bustin' Bay and Maya Bay Star, the other 4 could fight for the lead, set a pretty quick tempo, which could open the door for some closers. And if that's the case, Maya Bay Star, 5-point advantage down the lane over everybody else, including Bustin' Bay. Those 2 should be coming hard at the end. I think the pace sets up nicely for the 3 horse. Should be middle of the pack. Try to use those late legs as they come down the wire. Make a winner out of Charles, out of Terry, and as well out of, forgive me because I don't always remember everything, Buy Stocks. There we go. And then so might be a star gets that top score, Charles. Who do you think has got the top score in your pick? The 3 horse. Well, you've already foreshadowed that.
The 3, because of the tactical speed this horse has. I mean, honestly, if everyone's gate basically doesn't open quick enough, I mean, this horse could find itself on the lead, but probably more comfortable sitting 3rd all the way around. This horse ran 2nd last time out. Rice, once again, gets 23% second after a claim. The 8 horse is my second choice here. This horse does have some speed, might find itself on the lead. Won last time out, got a hot trainer in the last 14 days. And then the 4 horse won last time out. The trainer gets 17% with 46 plus days of rest, has some of that tactical speed also. And then the 7 horse is another one that has a little bit of speed, but last time ran even last time. So he fits with this group. I just don't see him on the lead at least.
Sister Linda, I'm going to go with the 4 horse there with the top C-zone score by a pretty wide margin. You're also getting fair odds on that horse as well. Bustin' Bay is your simulated favorite. Charles at 2-1. It's everybody's favorite. So the horse won't be 2-1. There's no question about that. Does have the second best early speed, late speed combination in the race. We talked about when we looked through the pace sheet, it is the lone P horse, so should get an in-race advantage over a bunch of other horses that want to either close or be middle of the back. Cinderella's Cause, the 8 horse, did tie for the top C-zone score, one of 3 horses, but the 6 horse scratched out. Does have the best combination with early speed. And then finally, number 5, Mia Bay Star, did score out as your top horse in terms of running a complete race when you put together early and late speed. Does have a 5-point lane pace advantage. So if it's close to the front, as they come out of the turn, because tough to hold them off. Also a tough call for me over to 7. Again, same betting structure for me, 3-4-8 with the 3-4-5-7-8 with the 3-4-8. Hoping just to cash 1 or 2 trifectas that pay for the entire day, Charles.
Well, that's why I'm going to hit a pick 4 and a pick 5. So
I hope you do
for the rest of the year.
I hope you do, Charles. You have my blessings to do so, my friend.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. I know you need permission. You know, one of those people who needs permission, Charles.
I know.
Race number 8, the last of 2 races on the Belmont card for this Thursday. We have 6 furlongs on the turf, optional claiming 80 grand, non-winners of 3. The purse is a nice 105,000. So you're looking at a pretty high quality race here, Charles. 6 furlongs on the turf. Does have 3 races so far, none of which were won wire to wire, all of which were won by stalkers, and all the winners came from posts 4 through 7. Though a 3-race data set's not really one to hang your hat on, Charles. Now we can go to race number 8. It does look like it's going to be heated for who's going to get the lead with the C's get degrees out of the field.
I mean, who knows?
You got a degree with these, right, Charles?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. The 4, it's got the highest percentage of getting the lead at the quarter pole. But to be honest with you, who knows really? The 6, I think, has got an excellent shot of getting the lead. And so, the 4 does. And be right down honest with you, probably even the 1 even has a shot at that too. So we'll see who's the mad dash for the lead. Odds itself, the simulation odds, we have the 5 is the big overlay. Gun It. Rice claimed this horse 2 back. This horse was 3-1, and the morning line is 6-1. So that's a nice little overlay there. That's it when it comes to simulation odds.
See if we can find any in-race advantages in the 8th race here. Yeah, no true front runner in here or EP type. So you got the 5 and the 2. Those 2 want to be pressure type horses. The PCs tend to be a little bit on the versatile side. The 6 is your lone closer. The early speed numbers here look like it's pretty balanced. Anybody but the 7 Slipstream looks like they could be on the lead, as we saw in the simulations. It's pretty wide open as to who's going to take charge when the gates open. It does look like the 4 and the 2 are the most likely candidates. The 7 horse Slipstream, 5-point late pace advantage over everybody else in here. So if they can stay hugged, the leaders all the way around the track could use those late legs to score the W. But it does look like Comedy Town, the 4 horse, has a best combination of early speed and late speed, along with Gun It and Super Success. That trio could produce the winner. Charles, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a wide open race. I did it on my pick 5 and my pick 3. I just, put a bunch of horses in this race. The 6
is my favorite handicapping angle. Just put a bunch of horses in the race.
Well,
I find whenever I just do put a bunch of horses in there.
There are actually 6 running right now, right? 6 horses running, and I threw 5 in on my pick 3. So maybe
which one's going to win.
Yeah, we'll just take the one I didn't put in.
Yes, unfortunately either that or the 1 to 5 will win.
So it'd be the 2 is the one I did not put in. Let's put it that way. When it comes to so I ended up with the 6 as my top choice. This horse has that tactical speed. The horse cuts back in distance, which is a great angle. 3rd start after a layoff. Walsh gets a great trainer. He gets 19% at that angle. So that's why I lean towards the 6. The 1 itself, another one with some tactical speed, could find itself on the lead. You got a hot jockey trainer combo last 14 days. I believe personally that there's a jockey upgrade on this horse, which is Irad. The 4 horse is my 3rd choice here, which might be your leader, but I'm not too set on that. This trainer gets 11% when he sets him out for 46 plus days, so he definitely fits with this group. The 5, Gun It. Horse has some back class, has run some good races in the past, but this horse ran 2nd last time. Once again, this one has that tactical speed to do whatever he wants. Rice gets 23%, 2nd after a claim.
All right. For me, in a race number 8, I'm going to go with the 7. Slipstream does have the top late pace numbers and the best C-zone score in here. So we'll see if he can close that race at the end there, because stalkers have done the best. Gun It. Overlay, high C-zone. Charles in here, the highest C-zone, I think, in the race, or one of the highest C-zones in the race. One of the 2P horses, again, with most of the horses in this field that want to be middle or back, so should get a really good trip too. Comedy Town, the 2 horse, has the 2nd best early speed, late speed combination in there, Charles. And then finally, that 1 horse in here. This is a hat tip to our good friend, Terry Hollywood Hay. There was a 1 and a 1A in here. C's gets degrees. The trainer scratched the 1A. As Terry always says, trainer knows best, and he's seen way too many times when they've had an entry. Whenever they scratch 1, they leave the better horse in the race. Isn't that right, Terry? I'm going to go trifecta 4, 5, 7 over the 1, 2, 4, 5, 7 over the 4, 5, and 7. And I don't have your 6 horse in there, Charles. So maybe I'll be kicking myself when race 8 is over, when the 6 horse finishes 3rd.
Well, I don't have your 2, so there you go.
Well, yeah, the 2 horses, my 5th pick in there.
Yeah.
All right, the last race on the card is race number 9. 1 1/8 miles on the inner turf, Charles. At 1 1/8 on the inner turf, you're typically looking for a horse that has a little bit of, 50-50 so far. It don't really matter. So you either want to be on the front or the back. You don't want to be in the middle. 2 of the 4 horses went wire to wire. None have won from the rail or 8 or out. Most of the winners have come from posts 2 or 3 or from 4 through 7, even number for both in there, Charles. For the final time of the day, our simulations for race number 8 suggest, not 9, excuse me, that the 4 horse and the 7 horse will be battling it out when the gates open to see who is going to be the front runner.
Yeah, the 4 horse has a 52% chance of having that lead at that quarter pole, but that 7's going to have a say in it at 44%. I personally believe that the 7 will actually take the lead in that race.
Slap in the face. Speaking of slap in the face, have you seen that Dana White thing, that like slapping contest?
Oh, yes.
Have you watched any of that?
That's brutal.
No. Maybe we should do that instead of handicapping, Charles.
No, I'm out. I mean, that is just too brutal. I mean, people are going to be brain dead. You have to be brain dead to do it. So
people will do just about anything for money, including letting another man smack them as hard as they can in the face.
That you definitely have to be brain dead. I'm sorry. Simulation.
You should be good at it then.
Oh, no. I got too many brains. I got so much. I got a huge head, man. Woo! Hold all those brains.
We can hear the whistling when the wind blows. We're always wondering where that came from.
I bet you can. All right. The 4 horse simulation odds is 2-1, and you got a morning line of 10-1. There's a nice overlay for you.
Nice. Yes.
And that is it when it comes to simulation odds.
Our way to the winner's circle worksheet for the last time today. Okay, I mean, we've seen this race shape over and over and over. Not a true pace setter in here.
Well, you got the wrong race. Wrong race.
Yes, that's why there's not a true pace setter. There is pace setters in here. The 1 and the 3. Yeah, helps if I'm on the right race, and I'm telling you that there's emptiness up in there. Right? I guess the evidence shows otherwise.
Yeah.
But the 1 does look like Stowe on the Wood is the one that's going to probably get to the lead. Mudville 9, one of these that hasn't been within 5 lengths of the leader, could pressure too. But both of those back here on the back end are going to have to show more stamina. Of the front runners, it does look like the 3 has the most early pace and the most late pace, so maybe can be competitive as the race comes to a close. As it comes to a close, slap in the face, the new game show that's taking over the world. 5-point late advantage over the cap, and they have a little bit of edge over the others as well. Early speed, late speed, it does look like we have a standout on here with Tony O, the 4 horse. Again, when I see a race shape like this and you do have a horse kind of sitting there in the middle, kind of sticks out like a yellow number 4, Charles, to me. Has a 5-point early speed, late speed advantage over everybody else. And one of the reasons why it's my top pick, but it's not in your picks.
No, it's not. My top pick in the sole race of the whole day is the 8 horse here in this race. I think it's setting it up 100% for him. There's plenty of speed in here for him to just sit there and lick his chops there. One headlight, was it Wallflowers that sang that song?
I don't know.
And
I can't remember anything, Charles, because there's nothing up there, remember?
Oh, well, I remember,
but you forgot too, so there you go.
Smart like that. Okay. And so the 8 horse here ran second the last 2 times. And
Hanger.
Probably one of the best combos is the Todd and Irad combo, which you have here today. Well bet last time. This one will be flying at the end, so look out. I think this is a winner. The 7 is an interesting horse in this race. I think he has some speed to do some damage. This is a first-time Lasix, first-time gelding.
Oof. So it sounds like they're throwing a lot against the wall, hoping at least one of those things.
Well, I mean, they probably had to do both, and he's been out for a little bit. He was well bet his last time out.
Maybe Andy Biacone said they were getting in the way.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
This horse was well bet, so that means that they really thought this horse had some talent. Solid works. You got Franco aboard. Kind of scary. The 5 horse in this race is my 3rd choice. This horse ran second last time out. He's really bred for speed, but he's got more. It looks like on paper so far he's got more of the tactical speed, which in this race he might be one of them. Might be pushing some of that issue. And then the 1 horse, one of them that has speed, in my opinion. Second start after a layoff. The trainer Dunk gets 13% with that angle, and this is the second time with Lasix, so that's a good angle.
I like the angle of the lone P for Tony O. It does have the top early speed, late speed combination, as we saw. Very nice overlay on that 4-horse, too. 10-1 down to 5-2. So a chance to be on the lead, too. Maybe can use that P ability to be forwardly placed and then run by everybody late. One headlight, going to be the morning line favorite, is the simulated favorite as well. 4-5 morning line, but it looks like 4-5 might be overpaying for that horse. Looks like you're really probably better off somewhere around 7-5, 8-5 in that area. I wouldn't be surprised if you see those odds closer to the morning line in there. David Aragona is one of the best morning line setters in the country, maybe in the world. Slap in the face. Charles does have that strong late pace advantage over the rest of the field. Good chance to be forwardly placed in a race where everybody else kind of wants to be towards the back. Has an okay C zone and slight overlay, 15-1 down to 11-1. So, hey, nice. Can make for a nice trifecta if it got in there. Finally, Zapruder, top C zone by a really long margin over everybody else. I've seen too many of those come home at the end of exactas and trifectas not to include Zapruder in that film there with the Kennedys. 4, 7, 8 over the 1, 4, 7, 8, and 10 over the 4, 7, and 8 for the entirety of our picks today at Belmont. Tomorrow, I will be back with Thomas at 1 o'clock Eastern. We're going to do the Epsom Derby, a pretty big set of races over there in England on the weekend. So make sure you tune in for that. We had a pretty good, successful weekend last weekend. So we're looking for a repeat this weekend. Should be some big money pools over there. So our entirety of our picks. Race number 1 was won by the 7. Race number 2 won by the 2-horse, I believe. Race number 3
is about ready to start.
Yes, indeed. So if we go to we have a couple of minutes before we get to that race, though. So if you're going to bet tonight over at Evangeline Downs, the place to get your free picks is a guaranteed tip sheet. There is a link down in the description below on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching. Make sure you head on over there. You'll see in race number 1 at Evangeline Downs, and kindly use that link down there. How about that? A 10-1, number 7, Baracana. Or what is that? Baranaka. Anyway, that horse is the top pick at 10-1. So you got to, and then the third pick is 15-1 at the 4-horse in there. So maybe an opportunity to hit a nice exacta or trifecta in the first race. Again, free picks down at the bottom in our description over at guaranteedtipsheet.com. Make sure you go over there. Again, use the link so they know where you came from. Charles, any final thoughts before we watch race number 3 and skedaddle for today?
No, we got another whole week before the Belmont itself. So everyone just keep on trying to pick up some change here in some of these races, and we'll be ready for the Belmont itself.
Belmont's next Saturday, right? Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so it'll be a wagering guide week over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. I assure you there's a lot of energy and effort that go into those because I'm pretty grumpy. I'm like the old Snickers commercial, Rich is not himself during those weeks because of all that work. But definitely worth the effort and definitely worth the to look at them as well. So in race number 3, as it stands right now, the 3-horse, Charles, is the 1-1 favorite right now. That is So Faradada. That's my 4th pick. The 4-horse looks like the 5-horse is your second choice in here. That is Chase and Burn. The 4-horse down to 5-2 from 9-2 morning line. She Caught My Eye is the 3rd choice. And then the 6-horse is the last of the bunch that is under 10-1. A 6-horse being Towering Gaze. Everybody else is over 10-1 with the 1 at 23-1 and the 7 at 28-1.
So I need the 3 or the 4 in this race for my pick 4. Hopefully it's the 4.
Stay alive.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I hope it's the 4 too. This is my top pick. It's your top pick too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to race number 3 over here, our picks. And according to the early speed, it does look like the 4-horse She Caught My Eye or the 5-horse Chase and Burn, that too should get out to the front. Right now, the 3-horse remains your 1-1 favorite. The 5-horse down to 2-1. The 4-horse at 3-1. The 6-horse at 6-1. The 1-horse 22-1. So kind of hope for my trifecta, the 1-horse wins there, Charles.
4, wire to wire.
But if it went the 1-horse won, if it went 1, 4, and then the 6-horse, I would be thrilled to death. That would definitely pay for my day. The 3-horse going in, he looks nice, but he looks kind of dull, to be honest with you. His coat. 4-horse going in. 4-horse looks nice and shiny. Charles?
Yep.
It does look like they're holding the one's tail, so I think that one's probably going to get a tough break. because we've been told, looks like they're holding the three's tail too, Charles. That's not a good sign either. Okay, he backed off holding the three's tail. So it looks like I can't really tell if they're holding the one's tail again.
I can't tell anymore.
Yeah, when we had Larry Rivelli on, he said if they're holding the tail, folks, look out. Those horses are usually going to get off to a really bad start. And guess what? They were holding the one's tail, and guess what happened?
Dead last.
Got a really bad start. It's amazing what you learn on Horse Center, folks. You absolutely 1,000% want to watch that show, because I've learned so much stuff from the trainers, the jockeys, the people that are in the sport that I did not know before, to be honest with you. So he caught my eye. The 4 horse is on the lead, Charles. As we projected, he probably had the chance to do. The 6 horse right now is in second place, Towering Gaze. 7 horse in third. The 3 horse, that 1-1 down on the rail. Charles trying to find his way up into contention right now, and it's definitely moved in with Jamie Torres making his move up into the ranks right now. 4 horse, 23-4 for the opening quarter in race number 3 for. Is there going to mile in the 16th? Is that right? 47-3. That's a kind of fast opening quarter and opening half. I feel like for starter allowance, maybe not for 50 grand. It's tough to say. The 3 horse is definitely making its way up on the rail there. Charles trying to get involved. He does have a good hold on that 4 horse yet. Really hasn't asked him to go. I got to say though, that 6 horse looks a little bit dangerous on the outside, but running wide all the way around the track is a little bit of a difficult endeavor.
Yeah.
4 horse continues to be on the whoa. Oh, that 5 horse.
5.
I think he hurt his leg.
Yep, he hurt his leg.
Well, I hope for him that it's one of those things where he can remain on his legs, Charles.
So it's 4-3. 4 still got the lead a little bit there.
Yeah, I don't think he's going.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a photo finish all the way.
Yeah, the 3's got the momentum though. The 4's trying to come out a little bit to discourage him, and he did. It's going to go 4, 3, and then 6, and the other 2 horses just didn't come across the board because the 5 horse definitely injured something.
Yeah.
And then here comes the 1 at the end. So our hope is that the 4 horse, the 5 horse is not just one of those injuries that can recover from. Fingers crossed, because we don't need any more of that. You're still alive, Charles. The 4 horse, the top pick right there. She caught my eye. The top C-Zone score coming home as your winner, beating the very heavy favorite, Charles. That's what we want to see, my friend.
Yeah.
All right, that wraps up our United States coverage for this week, Charles. Any final thoughts from you before we get out of here?
No, the Epsom Derby. I can't wait to watch that. Galileo, his offspring. You just see how many horses he's got 1 son, and I can't remember the exact number, but I want to say like 10 grandsons in it.
Oof.
In the Epsom Derby. So yeah, he's a very dominant sire when it comes to those type of races.
So tune in for that. I'm sure Tom will have a whole lot more on pedigree, because Tom and Charles are the big pedigree guys. I'm of the mind frame. If Michael Jordan's father wasn't an athlete, Michael Jordan's son wasn't an athlete. If it doesn't work for humans, we're the superior species. It ain't going to work for horses.
Come on.
In any case, that wraps up our picks for today. We certainly hope that you have a fantastic Thursday and Friday, Saturday and Sunday. We won't be back on Saturday. Terry's going to go barbecuing, so Charles and I are going to take the day off as well. Terry and I'll be back on Monday and Tuesday for Parks. Charles will rejoin me again on Wednesday for Horseshoe Indianapolis. Probably next Thursday we'll do Belmont, and of course, we'll get prepared for the Belmont Stakes and all that pomp and circumstance. But between here and there, we hope that you have all of God's grace and favor today, and that every single thing you do until we meet again ends up in one place, Charles, and that can only be
the winner's circle.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend. Look forward to getting back together again.